Hello, class. It's good to see all of you again. And once again, I hope your week went well. And as we move forward, we're right at a very important week. This is week 5, meaning to say you're getting close to the end. Hopefully, your assignments, you're doing well also, and you're pretty well excited of where you are with your grade. If not, there's always some time. And so make sure you work very diligently. And obviously, if you have questions, don't ever hesitate to get in touch with your instructor. That's why he or she is your instructor. Anyway, this week we want to cover two very important components of the marketing mix, and it's known as product and price. And those are two very important. Regardless of changes of time, those are two things that will never get old. The product that we purchase, the product that we use, and the amount of money that we will pay. And unfortunately, in life, money is not an unlimited commodity. I don't know about you, but I don't have a tree at the back of the house. When I need money, I'll go there and shake it. I have to work with what we make, and that's the standard condition of every one of us. We have to work with limited money. But of course, there are some folks who have a lot of money, and they can buy anything they want. But on the other side of the coin, they don't want to be classified as dumb or stupid shopper. They will still look at value as on a comparative scale. Money to product, is there a value? Is it comparative? And are they getting the best deal? So let's start first with a product. By definition, what is a product? A product is considered to be anything that is exchangeable to satisfy the needs and wants of customer for revenue dollars in return. And so there are some things that we have to look at here now. Number one, it satisfies needs and wants. Number two, it's exchangeable. Number three, there's monetary exchange that is required. So revenue dollars is what business organization is seeking. Now, there's also three components. You have a seller, you have a buyer, and sometimes, and most times, the buyer is also the consumer or the user of the product. And of course, then you have the transaction, which is the exchange process, and that's where the product moves from their ownership to your ownership, and you will have title. Even your little receipt that you obtain when you buy a dozen of donuts, that receipt is known as your title. Title was transferred. You now own the donuts. They used to have owned the donuts, but now you own the donuts. But what do they have in exchange? They have your money. So by definition, a product is anything, which means it can be something with physical features, and it can also be something of intangible, doesn't have a physical feature. The ones that has physical features are known as goods, Goods, and the ones that does not have physical features are known as services. There are certain companies, their product is only an intangible. Those are life insurance, those are educational service, those are healthcare, legal services, and so forth. It's only the intangible. It's only it has no physical attributes. And of course, there are products that has physical attributes. That's your clothes, that's your car, that's your shoe, that's your grocery products, your houses, and so forth. And so there are times when a combination of both is necessary in order to make a transaction. And obviously, you may not buy a car unless they have supporting service in order to provide oil change or provide any kind of service needed, because cars are not products that can perform indefinitely without problems. So this product service, or this good service combination, creates what is known as the product offering. It is what you're buying plus the other added components that makes it now a complete product. And vice versa, you may go to a hotel, or you may probably go to a restaurant, and you are going to the restaurant as opposed to take out in order to experience services provided by them. So it's a combination of both. Now, there are other items also that are forward or future-based products that are saleable also. For instance, copyrighted products such as intellectual assets, intellectual property, Or maybe you're a good writer, maybe you write songs, or maybe you are a poet, you write poems. These are things that are also considered to be products. And so how would you know they're products? If there are buyers out there who has needs and wants, they will also pay for the product. So remember those three things now: product, exchange process, needs and wants, and also the revenue opportunities. Now, there are certain products, quite obviously, might not be satisfying needs and wants, and they may be great products. And so if your target audience are not looking for those products, quite obviously they will not participate in an exchange. Why? Because something is absent. Needs and wants for that product is absent. So make sure we understand from our analysis perspective, when we are bringing products to market, when we are developing products, or whether we are doing our research and development to come up with brand new products, we must identify needs and wants within our target audience. Now, products are categorized, the individual products, your book categorizes them in three different components. Unfortunately, as consumers, we pay for all those components and we may not use all of them. Component number one is the core product. Component number two is the actual product. Component number three is the augmented product. So what is the core product? The core product is what you will actually use in order to get that economic value out of, or you will use in order to get that psychographic or psychological satisfaction, or what you may use in order to get fulfillment for certain needs and wants. That is the actual product. But of course we pay, sorry, that is the core product, but of course we pay for a whole lot more than that. For instance, if you go to the supermarket these days, your products are coming in packages, and those packages cost money, whether it's in a box, whether it's in a bottle, whether it's in a can. It costs money, and we pay a lot for those things. And sometimes you buy clothes, and you look, you know, we may buy clothes because it has a logo. It might be a Nike logo, and we're paying for those logos. So what is the actual product? The actual product is the brand name. It has the features, it has the design, the packages, the quality, and so forth. These are all components that makes up the product. They are not consumable components. They're not economically usable component. Some of them are disposable component. Unfortunately, we have to pay for it. So let's take a product that you guys know really well, cosmetics, whether it's perfume or whether it's deodorant. And perfume, you know, the majority of individuals measure the quality of perfume by its price and by its design. But a lot of times, if you look at the content of what is in that bottle, it is very limited. But then if you look at the bottle and then you look at the box, it's quite impressive from its design perspective. We are paying for that box, we're paying for the design, we're paying for the bottle, and most likely we're going to throw it away. So when you look at content, that might be probably less than 50% of what you're paying, and the remaining is going after something that we're going to throw away. But you know, those are all advertising or promotional features also, because it appeals to the eyes and we respond. That is the actual product that we are buying. And of course you have what is known as augmented. Not every product has the component of augmentation or can be considered augmented product. But when the full economic value of that product is experienced with the additional component of service, that's an augmented product. For instance, your car, yes, you may need to take it in occasional to get service, or quite frequently to get service in order to get continuous economic value out of it. We pay for the service. That's a value added component. That's a separate component of the product offering, but that's also augmented that we are getting now from that product. Another component of augmentation might be, let's say you buy a brand new television, a 65-inch, and you're like me, you're not technology smart, or you're not handy. You have to get someone else to come and hang it for you and set it up for you. Those are augmented services. Okay, so those levels of products are very important that we understand. Now, the other thing that we need to understand about products, they are categorized also by virtue of the audience that they will target, not by virtue of the nature of products, but by virtue of the audience they target and the needs and wants that they will satisfy. So we have what is known as convenience-based products, shopping products, specialty products. So let's look at the definition of convenience products. Convenience products are considered to be small items that you and I will buy on the go. And so you may stop at 7-Eleven to put gas in your car, and you may go into the store and buy yourself a bottle of drink, or maybe a piece of a candy, or maybe an apple. Those are convenience products. Why is it called convenience product? It is not because of the product. You can buy these same products at the supermarket, but because of the occasion, the need that is being satisfied. By definition, convenience means it must be available upon demand. And so consumer will pay a little bit more, and this convenience store will get a little bit more profit to providing convenience. And so it's considered to be low price in dollar denomination, but not low profit on a comparative scale to its general distribution system, what is coming from the supermarket. The other thing about convenience is the opening hours. Most convenience-based stores are open 7/24. And so regardless of time, regardless of days, even on holidays, they are available, they're open. And those are your convenience stores that you would see at gas stations. They are always open. So what is the goal here? The goal is convenience. And so satisfy that demand as it's needed. Now, another very important category of product is known as shopping goods. Shopping goods imply what it is, shopping. These are goods that are infrequently purchased but frequently used, meaning to say we do not buy these products every day, but we use these products probably every day. So let's look at some products that may fall in the category of shopping goods. Your refrigerators, your appliances in your house, your cars. These are all shopping goods. How often do you buy a car? Probably once every 5 years. How often do you buy a refrigerator? Probably once every 10 years. But the question is this: how often do you use your refrigerator? Probably many times daily. Your car, quite frequently. So infrequently purchased, frequently used. When the decision to purchase these products are made, it's based on three very important components: immediate and also future use. So there are a little bit more analysis, or there are a whole lot more analysis that goes into buying these products. Some folks are very brand oriented, and they may buy the same product over and over again. For instance, some folks are, let's take your transportation system, your car. Some folks might be loyal to a certain brand, they may be loyal to a certain dealer, and they may also be loyal to a certain salesperson. And so it becomes a repeatable process every 5 years. Just the price, just maybe the system of how this transaction will occur might be in discussion, but not necessarily the product. Certain folks may not do that. They may look at Consumer Report, and they may look to see which product is getting the best review these days, and they may buy that product. And why is that? Because they want to have a hassle-free future usage of that product. They don't want to have a product that after a year is going to break down, and there's more repairs and more repair costs. And so there's the cost factor for repairs, but there's also the dissatisfaction of not using the product, and there's also the frustration of not able to gain usage out of the product when you need it, and also the cost factor having to get someone to fix these products. So what does it all mean? It means that shopping goods are compared to other goods within its marketplace, meaning to say that the decisions are not made very easy. And these are high-priced products, and a lot of times these products are not paid for cash. They're being financed. So financing has to be taken in consideration. The interest rate has to be taken in consideration. The method of sales has to be taken in consideration, meaning to say, will you get the first year interest-free? Or like Rooms to Go, buy now and pay after 5 years, or buy now and don't pay any interest for an extended period of time. These are all factors that are considered or makes up the strategy in order to attract consumer attention, because these are not just random selection, these are also well thought out process. So from a consumer perspective, what do we want? We want to have a product that meets our needs and would able to perform anytime we ask it to perform, and would last the period of expected life cycle that we want out of it. We want to have a sudden organization that is able to support those products in terms of the augmentation that we spoke about, which is additional service that they may need, parts and labor. And we also want to have good pricing, so we negotiate pricing, and we also want to have very good interest rates. So the other component about shopping goods, these are considered to be products that you just don't look and buy at list price. They're negotiable items. So if you're not involved in negotiation, well, start learning how to negotiate or get someone to negotiate, because what you will see is the list price. List price does not mean final price. These are not the same products as your convenience-based products. They're not the same product as your department retail store product. They're not the same as what you buy at grocery stores. Those are fixed price items. These are negotiable pricing. So what does negotiable pricing entails? The price will be set very high. And in order to give room for negotiation, so a good negotiator is going to negotiate that price down, and that company must still capture what is known as a reasonable profit within the agreed upon price. Obviously, they have a floor that they're not going to go lower than that, or else it will cut into what is known as reasonable profit. And so they would like to sell it at the very highest price because that means more profit for them. But consumers need to understand that they're negotiable pricing. The price is set high. We need to negotiate. And a lot of times that negotiation should follow knowledge. So where will you get knowledge from? Obviously, you compare, you do your research, you look at products out in the marketplace of similarities, you speak to people, compare prices, what is being offered, what has been the selling price. This gives you a basis through which you can negotiate in order to find fair pricing for the products that you're looking for. Third category are known as specialty products. Remember, we spoke about psychographic individuals who are very focused on image and very focused on status. Specialty products are these very high luxury, premium luxury products. They may fall in the category of Rolex. Rolex watch, very expensive. They may fall in the category of your, let's say your Rolls Royce or probably Louis Vuitton and all those big name items. They have a target audience. And their audience are affluent people, people who has money, who makes a lot of money, who are very image oriented. These are specialty products. Specialty products distributions are controlled because specialty products do not want to compete with themselves at various distribution that is managed by retailers or owned by retailers. That's why you would see a lot of these specialty products. It's a direct dealing with the manufacturer. Most times you want a Louis Vuitton or you want a Rolex, you probably have to go to a specialty retail store that has been contracted, or you may have to go to a company-owned store. These are highly controlled products because the price is very important, and they don't want to have the price compete with lower price of the same products, and it creates conflict in the marketplace. Specialty products are marketed very differently. Now, on a comparative scale to shopping goods, large quantities of specialty products are not being sold in a similar manner as your shopping goods. The quantity demand is less because the fluency of the audience group is smaller and the frequency of purchase is a little bit longer. So how does this company exist? How do they stay in business? Profit margin is very high. So times when they're not selling products, they have, they still have a cost. They have payroll, they have overhead, and therefore that profit margin has to extend for an extensive period of time in order to keep their costs going. So convenience shopping, specialty, and one last category that we will speak about is known as unsought. These are not products that average people will go out and look for, but sometimes out of necessity. So let's look at insurance. A lot of you may not be looking to buy insurance for your for coverage unless maybe you have kids and you're thinking about their future in case you're no longer there. You've passed away, you're thinking about their education and so forth. So you buy insurance. You may also, some other products that are sold regularly that no one goes out looking for, funeral services. Those are unsought goods. Nobody's going to go out there, oh, well, very few people may be going out there looking at the fact and said, okay, I need to start looking at my funeral at some point in time, I'm going to die. These things we don't think about seriously. So they're not considered to be in the same category as your convenience, your shopping goods, or your specialty goods. From a promotion, from a pricing perspective, the strategy are very different. So let's look at another category of products that is known as industrial products. Industrial products are products that are considered to be raw material. They are also known as commodity-based products. They are used as the point of origin for consumer products. These are the steel, the aluminum, the engines, what is made up of these parts that would make up, let's say, an airplane that your favorite airline may purchase that they will use to transport passengers back and forth. They're also based on consumer products. They are, we spoke about your shopping goods, we spoke about your specialty items in terms of whether it's a Louis Vuitton bag. And also you have the commodity-based products such as oil. We use oil in various products, or aluminum that comes from bauxite. These are commodity-based products. These are the point of origin for consumer-based products. And so these are inputs that would eventually come out as finished products that you and I will buy. And there's a very important economic principle that we need to understand. Although they are the original of many products, they are not separated from the demand in the marketplace. So there is an economic terminology that says that the demand for industrial products is directly connected to the demand for consumer products. So let's look at it, for example. Let's say that we move into a global recession where people don't have jobs, they're not making a whole lot of money. What are the chances that appliances will be purchased on a regular scale? What are the chances that people are going to be buying cars and going on vacation and all this kind of stuff? Those things will decrease. And when those things decrease, the need for the farm utility product will decrease. The need for the raw material will decrease. The need for the original products will actually decrease. So it is very important that we have a healthy economy, or we have a very healthy global economy where people are getting jobs, where people are working, where people are making decent income so they can continue to buy. So how do you measure a strong economy? You measure it by consumer purchase. And so if consumer purchases are not there because financially we're not doing well, economically we're not doing well, none of these products will experience any benefit. Of course, probably except the unsought, which might be the funeral product, because we can't do anything about those things. So when we look at certain products these days, we know that we're dealing with a very competitive market. And so competitive market has to appeal to customers, because what does competitive market means? It means that there's a shift in power. Suppliers don't have strength of power like they used to have had in the past. Consumers now have power. You and I can select where we want to buy our products from. We can select which company we want to buy it from. We can select the methodology of how we're going to buy it. It can be online, it can be from a storefront. And so we have a lot of choices. Because of these choices, company has to be a little bit more strategic in their outlook as they put products together. So a lot of times what sells? There's an appeal to the eyes. We have senses, and we use these senses to make decisions. We see things we like, we think about it, we're curious, we want to try it. We taste stuff, we like it, we want to try it. We listen about good reviews, we want to try things. We smell perfume, we want to try things. And these are very, very important components the supplier has to take in consideration. So what would they look at? They would look at the features of a product. Does it have the attractive nature? They will look at the design of the product. And obviously, they will also have to look at the performance of the product. So what happens if you buy a product that looks real great, but it doesn't perform well? Ultimately, you will be unhappy, and most likely, you will not repeat that process. But what happens if it looks great and it performs well, then the chance of being a little bit more loyal to that product because of the satisfaction of what we receive is much more comprehensive or holistic in nature. It is good, nice looking, and it's also good performing. And if you look at some of the products these days, specifically in the areas of consumer electronics, they're not just functional products. These are very fashionable products. Some of you may decide to buy your smartphone based on how it looks and also based on performance. So if it has looks, it has great design, and it has good performance, the chances of us being hooked is very possible. Now, these products, there's a connection to of these great products to you, the consumer, based on a couple things. Number one, your needs and wants. But what happens if these products are priced out of your capacity to pay for it? You have needs, you have wants, you like the product, you would want to buy that product, but what happens if you don't have the income? Most likely, yes, you can probably use credit. Well, what happens if the credit availability is not sufficient? For instance, let's say it's a luxury product, or maybe it's a very expensive Rolex watch that you want. Most likely we can buy these products. So price is very important based on audience that we're targeting, based on many different things. Pricing is very important. So there are two groups of people now we have to look at in order to determine what is the right price. So here's a question. Do you think there is something that is known as the right price? It's a debatable question. The other thing is price art or is price science? Is it a numbers game where we use calculation based on cost and we put a certain percentage of profit to it? Or is it art also, meaning to say the appeal of what it is to the consumer group, and because probably of their fluency, they're willing to pay the product, or they're willing to pay the price. So you will see premium or luxury, the products that we mentioned about specialty items that are not sold very frequently but very, very high price. Those are not so much, the pricing methodology there is not based on numbers. It is based more on art. It's not based on the science of numbers, but it's based on the art through which it appeals to the individual, because it's status oriented and status driven, and the fluency who has the money, they're willing to pay for it. But of course, even those folks with a lot of money, they have to buy certain products also that are your everyday product, which is going to be your grocery products, your household item products, and so forth. And, you know, there's a significant abundance of those products out in the marketplace, and most likely they will have to look at price. So here's a question. How does consumer use price? Do they look at the price and determine quality? Does high price means high quality? Does higher price means better quality? Does higher price means greater satisfaction? Does higher price means longevity of products? Certain products, yes, and certain products, probably no. Do they look at low price and said, okay, low price is affordable, but does low price means it's low quality? Does low price means I'm getting high quality at a low price? Does low price means a bargain? Maybe, maybe not. Because what are the chances that you will buy most of your grocery products from the $1 store, or most of your household items from the $1 store? They are low, they are cheap, but obviously the functionality is not there. You know, they are mass merchandiser. So on certain products, we have certain needs. We make decisions differently. We understand pricing from a comparative scale. So price is a combination of art and science. Now, what is necessary to know in every business is your costs. Your cost to exchange, not just manufacturing costs and overhead costs and labor costs, but we have marketing costs, which is advertising, and we probably have sales people's commission and so forth. So cost to exchange from the very inception of acquisition or manufacturing right down to this exchange process, every penny we need to understand. Yes, to some products that influence the markup, and to some product it really does not, but yet we still need to know to able to determine what's our profit margin and so forth. So the science part is an absolute must. Not all products fall in the art component of art and science, but the science part, every product falls in the science part. The other side of the question, what does price means to the seller? Price is very important because what happens if they price the product too high, where a certain segment of the market is priced out and therefore sales decline? Do they need a certain volume of sales? Most likely, yes. What would happen if demand continues to stay stationary and does not increase because the price is not attractive enough? So price has to satisfy demand, has to satisfy a continuation of demand. That's one aspect of the strategic element of price. The other aspect is price has to at least, at a minimum, break even. Break even means that all the cost of the company is satisfied, including payroll, overhead, and everything, but there's no profit. And no company come into business to just break even. They're there for profit opportunities. Company has to make a decision on what is reasonable profit. And so it's individualized by company in terms of reasonable profit. Some companies are 30% above cost to exchange is reasonable. Some companies 20% is reasonable because they're doing a whole lot more volume. Some companies 50% is necessary because of specialty nature of the company. So if you look at companies that are moving large volume of business, such as your mass merchandiser that we mentioned, your Walmart and your Target, and of course your supermarkets, not your specialty supermarkets such as Whole Foods, but your general supermarkets such as Publix, Winn-Dixie, and so forth, those are moving merchandise in very, very large quantity. So what is important to these folks? The longer product stays on the shelf, is the more cost that they are experiencing because they can't use that shelf space to put another product there. So turnover product is very important, and so therefore they may just mark it up at a certain percentage of markup in order to turn products over very, very fast. So if they can turn products over once a day, that's great. Once a week, certain products, that's great. Certain product probably is once a month. So they have to look again at the strategic elements of what do they want. And so reasonable profit may be different from different company, and it's not a number that is standard or standard measurement for every company within every industry. It all depends on the specific company. So from the seller perspective, break even, very important. Reasonable profit, very important. But what happens if they stay to reasonable profit? What are the chances of growing? Growing means expanding their business to move into new markets. And what would happen with, where will that money come from? So a lot of times they may look at a little bit excess. Can I get a little bit more than reasonable profit to help the cash flow in case we have to expand, in case we have to replace capital investment, in case we have to, maybe there's a recession. Maybe there's a downturn in demand and so forth. So these are all elements within the strategy of pricing that company has to take in consideration. So let's summarize there again. Number one, demand. Demand is very, very important. It is not just bringing products that is competitively priced out of competition, but it's to connect to the marketplace to ensure that we have growing demand. Secondly, it must meet break-even point. Third, it must produce reasonably good profit. Fourth, a little bit excess for companies that wants to, ultimately no one starts a business because they want to serve the community. Wealth creation is one of the motivation for entrepreneurs to start business. And so beyond reasonable profit, they will have to answer the question of wealth creation. And so all of these are planning or stages within the strategic element of setting price. So price is very important. It's also one of those components of the marketing mix that we spoke about: product, price, promotion, and place. And it's also one of those four variables that company has control of, meaning to say it's all done internally. They can increase the price, they can decrease the price. They can also do volume purchase. They can look at it and say, okay, we're going to price products based on volume. Someone buys one item, this is the price. Someone wants to buy 50 items, this is the price. As long as they're not violating regulations or the regulatory guidelines or breaking the law in any way, quite obviously they can use price as a strategic element in order to give discounts. And you would see a lot of retailers use discounts. They would set prices that is a little high, and they may use discounts in order to create attraction because it's the nature of the industry. And so it's an element, again, where we can use it. We can use price as a strategic element in order to move merchandise out of inventory or reduce inventory to create space for new inventory. We can also use price as an element to increase market share. We can also use price as an element to produce return or repeat buyers. We can also use price as an element to move repeat buyers into loyal customers. The other aspect that we want to look at price is, and this is covered quite extensively in your book, and I will just identify these items. And so you get a chance, I want you to look them up in your book. There are 7 different categories of pricing. Number 1, your simplest and the most usable in retail is called markup pricing. Markup is a certain percentage above the cost to exchange, and it captures reasonable profit, and most times just reasonable profit. Second is target return pricing. Target return pricing is someone who looks at the product and would say, I want to make 10 bucks, I want to make $20, I want to make $50. So it's a certain dollar amount, or it can also be a certain percentage. They may look at certain products. We will not bring these products into our business unless we can get a 40, 50, 60% return. And then there's the perceived value. Perceived value, it's the economic value, and it's also the psychographic value. The psychographic, as we mentioned, is a component of lifestyle, which is status-oriented and image-oriented. And so we spoke about specialty products. These are your Louis Vuitton. These are your Rolex watches. These are your Rolls Royce. And they use perceived value pricing. They want the product to maintain a certain value, and therefore the price is set there. So one can say it's not necessarily a product to quality, but it's much more a price to the quality of the product, but it's much more a price to the value that you and I will place on that product. Not from an economic perspective only, but much more from a psychographic. And then we have value pricing. Believe it or not, Walmart has value pricing. Value pricing is what you, the customer, gets in return for the product and the total experience of shopping. If you are satisfied with the total experience, your money was well spent. That's value pricing. If you were not satisfied, your money was not well spent. So it's a little bit more personalized in nature. And of course, you have certain products that are being sold by auction, the highest bidder. And of course, you have products that are group pricing. Those are your big lots. Big lots is a place that you can go and buy a lot of merchandise mixed up together, and they have a single price for this whole lot of products. You may get products that you want, you may get products that you do not need, and that you can probably sell back. A lot of folks do that are in the commercial, or they're in the resale business. So those are some pricing methodology, and you can use a combination of both or several, depending again on your merchandise mix. There are certain companies that has luxury products. There are certain, along with also economy-based products, and so one may be used to attract customers into the marketplace or into their business and expose them to different products. I hope pricing is understood a little bit different from what you were accustomed to. And once again, just go through your books. These are very important components. And as you know, pricing is a very practical component, and so is your product. There have to be coordination there. Have a great week. As you study, make sure you get some rest. Enjoy your classes, learn as much as you can, and I look forward to see you in week 6. Take care now.